What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your guy, Hit the keys. Here today with a special kind of video. Typically on this channel, we do plugin reviews, tutorials, and live streams. But today I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room. Apple just had their Apple event and they're dropping new MacBook Pros. So I wanted to talk about what that means for us musicians. Make sure if you guys like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. But let's go ahead and get right into these MacBooks.
Hit the key.
All right, guys. So basically I want to talk about is going out and getting one of the new MacBook Pros ideal, and should you do it when they drop? So the answer to that might be maybe you should wait. But let's go ahead and check out the MacBook Pros and kind of some of the differences that they are making to this new lineup. They got two new chips. They got a Pro chip and they got a Max chip. So let's go ahead and look at the MacBook Pros. I would generally say if you just make music and, you know, or you do some light editing and stuff like that, you might do some tutorials on YouTube like me. The MacBook Air still might be the way to go. But if you are looking to do a bunch of different crazy effects and stuff like that, then the new MacBook Pro might be the direction for you. The previous MacBook Air, you can get the base model for just $999. But when you're looking at the newer models, like when you're looking at the 14-inch, it's going to come at a starting price of $1999. And if you want to upgrade to a more spec'd out version, it's going to be $24.99. When you're sitting here and you're looking at the specs of these, on the $1999 base model 14-inch, it's going to be an 8-core CPU and a 14-core GPU. You can get the 8-core CPU and GPU of the previous model for a little bit cheaper. I believe it's $12.99 for the Pro and $9.99 for the Air. The Air might be $10.49 with the updated GPU. And this one comes with 16 gigabytes of unified memory, and it comes with 512 gigabytes of SSD storage. So with these, you can spec them out. So if you go to select on the 14 and 16 inch, you can spec them both all the way out. So you can spec this one all the way up to 10 core CPU and 32 core GPU. And then you can also add 32 gigabytes of unified memory, and you can go all the way up to 8 terabits of SSD storage, which is phenomenal. And then it has this 96 watt super fast charger. With the 16-inch version, that one's going to be a little more expensive. Obviously, these are for pros. So I can't stress enough that maybe if you're just making music, you can just go with the Air, or you can just go with the standard version. But when you're looking at these, so for the spec'd out M1, it's going to be $34.99 for the base one. It's going to be $24.99 for the 16-inch. So when you're looking at this and you're looking to, maybe spec it out a little more, you can go 64 gigabytes of unified memory on the 16-inch. And, you can go up to the same 8 terabit of storage for an extra $2,000. And then you can add Final Cut and all that other stuff. So the reason that I wanted to talk about this so much is because there's always a lot of confusion when a new computer comes out. And there's always a musician who's on the fence about upgrading to a new computer and whether they should get the next computer or whether they should get something that's already been out for a little bit. So here's my thoughts on whether you as a musician should invest in a 14 or a 16-inch MacBook Pro. My thoughts are, I've had an M1 MacBook Air for about 4 or 5 months now. I absolutely love the computer. It's the greatest laptop I've ever owned. I'm not an Apple head until now. I've always been a PC computer user. I've always been anti-Apple, and I've always been a PC head. I've never had an iPhone. I never had any kind of Apple equipment until I got this M1 Air. I would recommend it to everyone on earth. I feel like it's super fast. It edits content very fast. So when I'm making videos, it zips through 4K footage without any stalling, anything like that. I did a video where I had 2 instances of Analog Labs, 2 instances of Pigments, 2 instances of Omnisphere. I had Sublab, I had Vocals with Nectar on it, and I also had Ozone with a whole bunch of effects on there, and it didn't miss a beat. I'll play a snippet of that video right here. And so as you can see in that video, there was no skipping, there was nothing going on, and I had screen recording going too in that video as well. So from a musician standpoint, that computer is enough for you to be able to create music and add as many tracks as you want in order to be able to record, add all the effects that you want. It's just definitely a solid computer. Here is why I say maybe you should think before you do invest in a 14 and 16 inch, MacBook Pro. The same problem that you're always going to have is when they drop this computer, it's going to be a brand new OS. So it's going to be a brand new operating system. And so as we know, with the new brand new operating system, it takes music companies a while to catch up with that new operating system. And so a lot of the plugins that you use, that you buy and that you have aren't going to be available to use on the M1 Mac. Yes, they do have Rosetta, but then you have issues that you may run into later. So an issue that I consistently run into is I have FL Studio. I use FL Studio on my Mac. Now I have Logic as well, but FL Studio is the plugin or the DAW that I choose to use. So FL Studio has updated to a Big Sur version of FL Studio, but now there's an issue with all the tracks that I've recorded on my computer before they updated. So even with Rosetta, not all the tracks will open up. And that's something that you need to think about. So even though they'll have Rosetta and they'll have technology that'll be able to convert a lot of those plugins, well, like companies like Waves are far behind the mark on where they should be at with their technology. Or companies like Waves are going to want you to pay them more money for your plugin to work on your new Mac operating system, which is absolutely insane. You should be able to get the newest version of whatever plugin that comes out that's compatible with the Silicon Macs, and you should be able to use it. So that's something that you need to think about. So you might have to pay to upgrade or update your plugins, and that's a strong con. Plus, I can't stress enough, if you've been working on projects and you've been working on music, or you have clients that you've been working on their music, and then all of a sudden when the program that you're using finally catches up and they give you an update to let you work on whatever new Mac OS system that you have, and now you can't load those projects up, that's a problem because somebody's already paid you for that work. They've already paid you to record. They've already paid you to mix, but now you can't get those projects that you've been working on. So that's just something to take into consideration. Do I think that these new M1 Macs are going to be incredible? I think that they're going to be phenomenal. I think they're going to be off the charts because these first M1s were just the greatest computers that came out. They're the greatest laptop. I mean, for real, it is the greatest laptop I've ever used. So I just feel like maybe you as a musician, instead of playing keeping up with the Joneses, and trying to get something because one artist has it or somebody else has it, maybe you should just wait a few months, let everything, all the kinks get straightened out, and then invest in it, and it might be a good investment for you. But until then, if you need a computer right now, again, I would definitely recommend the M1 Air or the M1 MacBook, the one that's already been out from last year, because you will be able to use all the programs, most of your VSTs, you'll be able to use everything in those computers because they've been out for a year now and most companies are caught up. So make sure if you guys like this content though, you drop a whole elbow on that like button, hit subscribe and that notification bell so every time we bring you guys a new video, you can be the first to see. Appreciate you guys' time as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. All right, guys and gals, thanks for watching the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Make sure you hit that notification bell so every time a new video comes out, you can be the first to know. Let me know what tutorials you want to see next in the comments, and see you next time.
Some, hit the key.